What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Words from the Nerds podcast. I am one of your hosts, your lovely host today, Cubson, not as long, but along with my lovely, wonderful co host, best in the world, Aiden H. Talks. How are we doing tonight, baby girl?
Doing all right. We're taking that from the top. Doing amazing. Just enjoyed some Creed 3 earlier this week. And it has come out. We dropped $50 and drove 2.5 hours to go watch it. Literally 4 days early, bro. And I was so pissed because I was like, oh, Joe, I'm getting to watch this on February 27th. Bet. And then I was like, movie comes out March 3rd. Like, I'm getting it almost a week early. And then I was like, dude, there's only 28 days in March. So I'm getting this movie like 3 days early. And I was like, is it worth the drive? But I was like, you know what? Yeah. And so I went and I enjoyed it a lot. I'm glad I could give you and Ben something to kind of look forward to. And honestly, I also do find it kind of disrespectful that even though I said, "Hey, this is a banger," that y'all were still like, "Yeah, well, we'll see." And then
Hold
y'all
on.
saw, and I was like,
It wasn't
"What I
me. That
tell you?
wasn't me. That
What
was
I
that
tell you?"
was that was Mr. Illinois over there. Okay. It
It's
wasn't
like,
wasn't me.
do y'all not respect my movie opinions? Like, what are we
Listen.
doing here? I told y'all Creed 3 was gonna be peak, and it was peak.
Listen, bro, I'm probably a bigger fan of the franchise than you guys. Okay, so I don't want to hear it. That's my boy Michael B. All right, like I was out here campaigning for this man. All right, plus I ranked it higher than you guys. What can I say? But
Yeah, true.
yeah, man, I just actually just got back from watching it tonight myself, and we're gonna record an episode for you guys tomorrow on that, probably featuring the special Benji movies man himself. And
Benjaminography.
that one was a joke, bro. That one was a joke, 100%. That was not a real entry. That was just, I threw out names. That was one of them that came to mind. I was like, there's no way he's going with that one. So, but I thought of it, so I'm gonna put it out
Oh,
there.
the one and
uh,
only Benjamin movies.
the
Benjamin
Benji
movies.
movies might be joining us to give us his stupid takes on the movie because we all know all of his takes are stupid. But besides that, we are here to talk about the episode 7 of The Last of Us HBO. This was the episode titled Left Behind, prominently featuring all of the wonderful moments from the DLC of the first game that came out in 2014. The first game actually came out in 2013, but the DLC came out in 2014, featuring Ellie prominently along with her childhood friend Riley. And this is an episode I think both Aiden and I were both looking forward to very, very much. The story that it tells is very important to Ellie as a character, obviously, as we know what happens in this
Mhm.
episode. Um, but not only just for the obvious physical um, changes it makes to Ellie's character and her life going forward, but the emotional change that this entire story has on her, and as well as the implications that not the implications but what it sets up for her and Joel in the moment that in this episode that is flashing back and forth between, which is actually I think they did a good job of that, but we'll get to
Mhm.
that later. um Overall, Aiden, what were your kind of branching thoughts on the episode?
Um, I want to preface this by saying that I did enjoy the episode. I thought it did a really good job, like you said, of kind of paralleling Joel and Ellie, and then flashing back to Joel and Riley. And I think Craig Mason put it perfectly after the next week's on trailer when they kind of sit down with him and Neil Druckmann and talk. He said something about as soon as Ellie, as soon as Ellie, as soon as Ellie hesitates to leave Joel, that's when we flash back to her and Riley. And so I
Hmm.
think they did that beautifully. There was a lot of like cutting back and forth that they did. Um, I mean, we're jumping into full spoilers for the episode. As soon as Riley is bit, we flash back to Joel and her helping Joel out. And I can't remember if she was starting to stitch him up or if she had just found the wool, the needle and thread at that point. But whatever. I think they did a lot of that very well, set up the emotion very well. Um, as a whole, though, there are some things that I was just kind of missing. Um, and even like game wise, there's some bits of dialogue I wish we could have heard, maybe, that we didn't hear from the game. I'll get into that later. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of felt like something was missing. After I ended the episode, I kind of sat there and I was like, that didn't feel right, like not in, not in any sense that way, but I was just kind of like, I didn't get any of the emotion that I got in the past couple of weeks. And I love Ellie and Riley, and I love Ellie's story in Left Behind, and her kind of everyone I have loved has either died or left me. And we're getting to see that in the flesh right here. And so I love all of that. I think it's beautiful, but I kind of felt like something was missing, and I wasn't able to put my finger on it. And I threw up some ideas, and I even still don't know if that's what it is. But I said, maybe Bella Ramsey is just that damn good of an actor that Storm Reed couldn't really catch up because there was moments where I was like, man, Bella Ramsey is kind of acting you off the screen right now, man. I don't know what's going on.
Jeez.
That sounds harsh, but I mean, like, and that's not to
Acting
say,
you off the screen.
yeah.
Acting you
I'm
off the
like, I'm
screen
like,
is
look,
wild.
that sounds harsh, but I don't. No, it is harsh. I, it's just Bella Ramsey is that damn good, and what we've seen of her has been so amazing so far. And I think Pedro Pascal is right there with her. Like that's why I love seeing so much of them. But we don't see that. We see, this new character, Riley, and I don't have a problem with that. But Storm Reed is a very good actress, but I mean, when you're next to Bella Ramsey, you kind of got to bring your A+ game. Not your A game, you got to bring your A+ game. And so there was a couple moments where like the chemistry, I was just kind of like, really don't feel that much. I feel like I'm watching a relationship where, you know, Ellie is like this poetic Shakespeare, like I'm in love with you. I'll do everything. I want to confess my love to you. And Storm Reed is just kind of there, or something like that. Something like that. I think the acting was great between them two, but I mean, it was just off at points, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if that's the source of why I felt the way I felt at the end of the episode. I don't know if it's just seeing Joel and Ellie grow their relationship as much as they did last week, have this crucial moment in their relationship, and then we go to a flashback, which we were expecting. And I'm not saying I don't like that, but in the moment watching it, I was like, okay, I knew it was coming, and I wasn't gonna have a problem with it because I didn't have a problem with the Bill and Frank stuff, but I don't know. Something here is off. So I don't know if it's that, if it's any of the stuff I just mentioned. Um, but overall, I just felt different from these last couple episodes. And again, still in and of itself, a very, very good episode. Like I said, you can put the lowest of these episodes up against some of the lowest of other TV shows we've seen recently or other TV shows that have come out. And this one still takes a cake. Like it's not the best in the show, but it's still like a solid 8, 8.5 for me. So I'm not saying it was bad. I'm not sitting here saying it was whack. I was actually listening to a podcast. They did a Cocaine Bear podcast, um, and I was listening to it, and at the end they go into what they're watching. Into like one of the dudes, Royden, he's like, "All right, what we're watching this week, The Last of Us, still very good. I'm loving that show." And then the other dude, he's like, yeah, it's episode. I mean, I got to episode 7. I don't know. Like that shit was boring, and I started dying. Run. I was like,
Damn.
"Yo, dude!" Like, I was just imagining, like, bro, what if I came on the podcast and I was like, I mean, I don't know, bro. That shit was boring. Like, nah, bro, that's not fine. I don't think that harshly of it. I don't think it's boring. I'm not gonna go as far as saying that, but something was definitely missing for me, and so
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Um, for me myself, I mean, it was an enjoyable episode. For me, definitely wasn't one of my favorites. But I think your overall point of it not landing emotionally, I agree with to a certain extent. The part that didn't land with me emotionally was when they actually were both bit by the end of the episode. Um, just something about that, it didn't land the same way it did for me in the game. And we've been avidly comparing the game and the show these past few weeks, and whether that's fair or not fair is up to you guys to decide, I guess. But what I'm looking at this specific scene as, in comparison, is that the other scenes in the show that were carried over from the game almost one to one, for the most part, if not all of them, have either elicited that very same reaction, emotional reaction that I had while playing the game for the first time, if not a stronger emotional reaction than the game originally gave me. Like I would say that about Sarah's death. I would say that about Tess's death, maybe even. And honestly, I would add I'm forgetting their names right now. Sam and Henry in with that group as well, just mostly because of Bella Ramsey's performance. Actually, like that little scream she gives out when Henry does that. That's still heartbreaking. But getting off track. Overall, I think that's what didn't land for me was like them being not, and that's not to say like I think both of their performances are fantastic in that scene. Bella absolutely wrecking the glass case that they're sitting right in front of. Also, Bella's performance as soon as she finds out that she's bit, wiping her arm away, and the way her facial expressions and her scream, haunting, great stuff. And then Storm Reed, I love Storm Reed. I love Euphoria. Not ashamed to say it. In Euphoria, she does she does a great job in Euphoria. I think obviously that show is more built around Zendaya to have fantastic moments to shine. But the moments that Storm Reed gets in that show, she does a fantastic job. And I haven't seen Storm Reed's newest movie, like I think it's called Searching or something.
Missing.
Missing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I haven't seen that, and so I can't speak to her performance in that movie. But in this episode of the show, she does a fantastic job, I think. And actually, one of the things I was going to say, in contention to what you said, um, I think she does a fantastic job mixing with Ellie and Ellie's flirtatiousness, because in the game, I very much felt like it was a one-sided crush on Ellie's side until they kissed. Once they kissed in the game, then it was like Riley was like, "Oh, I like you too." But then this time around, I definitely felt the tension there the entire time. I felt like Riley was giving out as much flirtatious energy as Ellie was giving out. It felt like it was a very back and forth, and I can't think of the word I'm trying to say right now. But it was a great back and forth, and the equilibrium. That's not the word, but the equilibrium was there from both of them. And I actually really appreciated that a lot, because it allowed me to buy into their relationship a bit more than I did in the game. And so all in all, though, that wasn't enough to bring out that same emotion at the end there again. But Storm Reed, when she's going on about how we don't give up the time that we have and everything like that, fantastic performance. I love that so much. But just for some reason, it wasn't enough to get that out of me. And it sounds strange, but then shortly after that, when Ellie is about to stitch up Joel and they lock hands, oh my god, I had chills and tears swelling up in my eyes. I loved
Yeah.
that so much. Just a little thing of them holding hands, like such a small embrace of each other, but I loved it so much. And I don't know, I just I can't explain why that didn't work for me as emotionally, like so many other moments in the show have. And so at least ones that were carried over from the game, and I wish it did. And again, it's not because of their performances. I don't think I love both their performances. It just I think I agree with you. There's something missing, specifically for me from that moment, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And there's other things in the episode that I'll talk about that rather disappointed me. More doing with the show as a whole, I guess. But overall, I really enjoyed the episode. I know I just spent like 5 minutes harping on it, but um, I loved the carousel scene. The soundtrack in this episode was really,
Mm.
really well done, I think. Obviously, I know Aiden loves Take on Me being
Oh
played as
yeah.
soon as they get into the mall. And then Just Like Heaven by The Cure was like a musical melody version playing while they were riding the carousel. Um, but even the again, not again, but I say again because I mentioned in my TikTok review, the set design, fantastic. The mall looks really, really good. I found out from listening to the podcast that that first shot with Ellie looking over everything when Riley turned on the lights, majority, if not all of that, is CG, and that I think they did a damn good job with how all of that looks. Um, and I thought I love the art. I love the difference that they made with the arcade this time around. Actually letting them play the game rather than it just being like an imaginary thing inside of Ellie's head. And you can see all these other games while they're walking through there, like Tetris and Pac-Man and all that kind of stuff. It's like a nice little throwback type thing. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Overall, like I really enjoyed it. Obviously, like Aiden said, Bella Ramsey, especially killing it all over again, showing us why she is Ellie. She deserves to be Ellie, um, or excuse me, they. I mean, I believe she goes by any pronouns though.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, I was very pleased with this episode, but it just wasn't quite up there with every other episode. Not every other episode, but you know, with the highs of the show so far, I guess.
Yeah. Um and I will say I did love that last scene with them too, like just seeing Riley tearing up and seeing Ellie not know what to do at all, and then just finally just embracing Riley. I thought it was all beautiful, and I really did love the acting in that moment. There's just a couple moments where I was just kind of like, oh, this is not really working for me. But you know, it is what it is, because I really did like a lot in this episode, believe it or not, even though I just talked about everything I didn't like for Fast 15. Um, but yeah, I also think it's funny how we're like, yeah, we it was like something's missing. I don't know. I didn't really feel that right, but we don't know what it is. So
Yeah, exactly. I know. I know. I feel like it's not very comprehensive. I know, but
honestly, it's just genuinely how I feel.
yeah, I
But
can't put my finger on what's missing, but I just know that it's not quite where I wanted it to be.
yeah, and I don't know if maybe some of that is just like spending all this time with Joel and Ellie and seeing how well they play off each other, seeing their relationship, and then just kind of throwing our main character into a relationship with someone else in a flashback. Like it could maybe just be that, um, because I like you said, you cheered up with Joel and Ellie in the last 10 seconds of the episode, or in the last minute of the episode, but we just got an arguably more emotional scene that was fleshed out over the entire hour, that we were just kind of like, oh damn, that sucks, and that hit. But so I don't know, maybe it just has to go as deep as just the characters that we're dealing with this episode. I don't know. And that's not to say I didn't like Riley. That's not to say I have a problem with any of like that storyline or like any of their characters, because I don't at all. I loved that story, and like I said, in and of itself as its own contained story, I loved a lot. It's just something about Joel and Ellie that I just kind of wanted to keep unpacking. And granted, we've played the game, but so we already know how all of this plays out. We knew what was coming up, but that little part of me still can't like help to just be like, but what's going on with Joel? Like I don't know. And I sound like I'm just shitting on it, but yeah, man, that's truly how I felt, and I really didn't want to feel that way. I was like, yeah, I'll rewatch the episode later on in the week, and hopefully I'll like it more then. But I was just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of felt the same way. So yeah, man, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but gotta give it to you straight. I gotta give it to you straight. We can't come on here and be like, that was amazing, man, and like we really didn't like it. Like,
Yeah.
you saw how Ben and Charlie were with Quantum Mania. You should know by now.
I'm biased to an extent, but I'll be honest whenever I need to be.
Exactly, exactly.
um yeah, so let's just jump into the episode. Obviously it starts off with, oh my gosh, Joel's alive. Ellie's trying to take care of him, but she doesn't really know how, and Joel's like insisting, hey, leave me. Go to Tommy. Go north, find Tommy. Tommy will take care of you. He literally pushes her off of him, which is I was like, damn, Joel, you an asshole. But
Mhm.
uh, great, great little tiny little acting moment for both of them. I thought they both did a fantastic job. And then Ellie runs upstairs, looks like she's gonna leave, goes for the doorknob, and then cuts to the bulk of the episode, which is the flashback of Ellie and her days in the quarantine zone, starting off with good old PE, bro. I remember doing this in middle school, running around the gym for 5 minutes straight.
Dude.
That was the warm up in PE class. Um,
Mhm.
and then some girl runs up and takes off Ellie's headphones because as she's running, she's listening on her Walkman to. I actually didn't catch the song here,
Is
but
this when they played Pearl Jam?
ooh, I think it was. I think you're right. I think you're right. Actually, yep,
Because
yeah, it was.
because I was like, "Oh, they know what they're doing, bro, and it's killing me."
It sucks that we'll never get the actual song
Oh,
from
let us
part
dream. Let
two,
us dream.
but but it's weird after this episode aired. There's a lot of people
Mhm.
saying like, "What if this is Abby?" And no spoilers for part two. Don't worry, we're not going to talk about anything like that yet. But Abby is a character in part two. We will say that much, and she will be a character in season two. That's the most spoilers we're going to dive into with this. But I don't understand why people thought this. Like she somewhat looks like she could be, but um,
She
and
looks a lot like
her name is Bethany too. Like I don't
yeah.
I don't
No,
understand.
I saw somebody's TikTok and they were kind of like alluding to the fact like, "Did y'all see this too?" And then he went on and he said, "Now look, I personally don't think it's Abby. She's not even named as Abby, but this could be the directors being like, "Hey, this person is, you know, I'm not even going to say that. The directors of the show are like, "Hey, there's this person in here that looks like a character from The Last of Us Part 2. We're kind of prepping you and kind of showing you, hey, we're nodding to the fact that you know you're going to get to see her." That I can definitely see Neil Druckmann and them being like, let's find someone that looks like Abby and let's put her in this episode as a nod to like, hey, here's what you can expect to come later. And so I can see that, but like this being Abby,
Yeah,
it's reaching.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, she is an asshole, so I mean, but uh that's about it. And then Ellie's got that dog in her, bro. She's like, you tell me only my friend fights. I'll show you right now. She pulls out that Adonis Creed. She got that Creed blood in her. That's crazy. We can only assume that Ellie gave her the quick 1-2, and Bethany backed off, but she didn't come off without a scratch. Looks like Bethany gave her a quick little light black eye. And Ellie, we find Ellie next in the little disciplinary office of one of her commanding officers that work for Fedra, and basically gives her this stern talking to. Ellie, you're so smart that you are dumb. If you were to really apply yourself here, you could be part of the real change that could come about in this world because of Fedra. And everything that we do here without it would everything would collapse. Everybody would murder each other. They would basically perfectly describing what was happening in the Kansas City QZ to a certain extent. We saw Melanie Linsky's character killing off all of the informers that helped Fedra previously. So I imagine stuff like that is something that he's kind of alluding to. But basically, yeah, it just gives her this stern talking to, like, hey, you could be an officer like me, and you could tell the Bethanies of the world to where to shove it. And otherwise, you'll be taking orders from people like Bethany if you keep this kind of behavior up. And very, I like this because it humanizes Fedra in a way. Um, Even more so than the games ever did. The games just made him an absolute, all out, maybe not all out villain, but definitely a villainous type. I was gonna say character, but Fedra in and of itself is not a character. Uh,
Yeah.
this looming threat over the characters in the game. Fedra is very much fills that role, and even in the show to an extent, like they're nothing to mess around with. Especially like at the end of the first episode, we see the guy that Joel gave drugs to and goes on a power trip kind of thing, and then also we know from the Kansas City QC that Fedra was full of asshole um, officers and everything like that. And so this is the opportunity to show who Fedra is, why they believe what they believe, and why they wholeheartedly think that this is the only way to improving the world, the current state of the world. And I enjoyed this look into it, uh, and especially because we see the imprint that it leaves on Ellie with her future conversations with Riley in this episode. It was very, I almost want to say, rooted politically to a certain extent. Um, with Ellie being on one side of the coin and Riley being on like the other side of the freedom fighters and other, and then Ellie on the side of the totalitarian uh, government regime kind of side of things. And so it was an interesting dynamic to be brought forth with this conversation pertaining to Ellie, and then Ellie carrying this conversation on with Riley and the Fireflies later on.
Yeah. Um, I I like the scene. I didn't really think too deep about it, but I did like I was kind of like, yeah, this is cool. Ellie just whooped her ass and now she's getting to talk to. I did like how he gave her back her Walkman. I thought that was a cool scene. I thought that was fun. Um, it's interesting how they're like, hey, we kind of need more of y'all, and I think you'd be a great Fedra soldier. And then you can just tell Bella Ramsey, you can just tell Ellie's like, just stop and give me my shit back so I can go back to my room or whatever.
Yeah.
You can be a great soldier because then you can tell all the Bethanies in the world where to shove it. And it's kind of like, Bella Ramsey's like, dude, that's like being arrested or being detained by a cop, and they're like, hey, look, I think you're a really good kid, and you could be a cop like us one day if you just, and you're just like, dude, shut up and just let me go home. And so, but yeah, it is nice to see Ellie kind of bring that back against Riley because, not even just here, but in the game, she kind of um, what's the right word? She doesn't rub it in Riley's face, but she kind of lets her know jokingly throughout the whole entire thing that, okay, Miss Firefly girl, like we get it and stuff like that. And so I thought it was a very fun scene. Did humanize Fedra a lot. I will agree with that because I really did come to like that dude from the little time we spent with him. I was like, hey, this man's all right. He's one of the good ones. So
He's one of the good ones. um, then we cut to Ellie in her room, reading a comic book, and then she is forced to go to sleep by whoever's knocking outside the door. And then, as she's trying to fall asleep, or a couple hours later, I think actually after she's already somewhat asleep, Riley comes climbing into her window, but we don't know that it's Riley yet. And then surprises Ellie, and she's like, "Hey, yeah, I'm back. I've been gone for 3 weeks, but I have a surprise for you if you want to stop being a baby and let me come show you." And this was like the slight little introduction to Riley, and we also see like the little moments of, not moments, I guess, but the little tokens, excuse me, that Ellie admires throughout her room. You can see the poster of Mortal Kombat 2, which they'll play later in the episode. You see, I think that's actually did that say Depeche Mode? No way it did. No, it didn't. Okay, I thought she had a poster of the band that was playing the song that ended the last episode and then the episode of episode 1, the beginning of the show, but I don't think it was. But there's a cute little moment where Riley's like, "You need to get changed out of your pajamas and get dressed because we're gonna leave." And then Ellie's like, "Turn around," and she's like, "Well, you're so weird about that." That made me chuckle. I like that so much. Um, but then yeah, we follow them outside. They almost get caught right away. There's a truck driving past the alleyway that they're down. And then they continue walking through this alleyway, sneak in through a window, talking about different Fedra soldiers in their time that they've had in here. And then they walk up some steps and they find a dead person. Looks like the guy. I was like the whole time in the scene, I was like, why are we just like? I mean, I guess they're still in the quarantine zone, so like they wouldn't have anything to really worry about. But I was like, I don't know. I feel like we should be a little bit more skeptical right now because even like this guy could have like gotten out of the quarantine zone and then gotten back in, and he could have gotten bit somewhere along the way. We're just like casually walking up to this guy. It's
Yeah.
a little iffy to me, but um, they talked about this in the podcast and how cool and fine Ellie is with it because she doesn't really have like a reference for the horrors of the real world, I guess. She hasn't quite seen death like that. And so she very much just laughs at it, laughs it off, like dead body and that kind of thing. But Riley's more apprehensive about it.
Mm,
Because Riley has seen similar things like that, being a firefly or whatever. I can't remember exactly what they said because I listened to it earlier in the week. But yeah, that's interesting characterization that they added to Ellie for that for this specific moment. I mean, I think it's nice, but it also kind of harps back to um, what I mentioned last week about Ellie not being as innocent, which I still don't think that's the right word that I want to use for that, but I'm struggling to think of a different one. Uh, not as innocent as I would like her to be going into part two. But
mhm.
again, that's a spoiler conversation that I don't want to get into yet. So
Um, yeah, I also feel like we get a little bit of that though, throughout the entire mall scene. I feel like she gets a little bit of like her, I don't want to say childhood either because she never really had one, but she gets a little bit of her like childlike, personality back. Um, her like little witty, hopeful optimism, whatever you want to call it. Um, a little bit of that here in this whole little mall scene. And I think it's funny what Craig Mason says about I forget the exact quote, but he says something along the lines of Ellie finally has her person. Ellie finally has like this best friend, and we just rip her away from her. We just rip it away from her.
that's how, dude, both him and Neil Druckmann, they're like, we give her this moment of happiness
Yeah,
and then we just take it away. It's like, Jesus Christ. That's like
like
the Peter
dude,
Parker style writing, dog. Like
basically.
just let this dude suffer. That's crazy.
um, so I feel like we get a little bit of that here. Again, it's ripped away. Um, we'll see it. We'll see that trend a little bit.
But I guess, sorry to cut you off. Speaking
Yeah,
of
yeah.
part two, Ellie, very not so spoilery stuff here. I do like what they did with specifically that Bethany girl in the beginning, her mentioning someone Ellie cares about, and then her just going into um, attack mode, you know.
Yeah.
And I do think that adds great characterization to Ellie for future purposes. And so I think, and again, I talked about that last week. Like I think they're setting up part two Ellie really really well, but I also think that it's a disservice to the lighter side of part two Ellie. But again,
Yeah. Well, on that note, I do absolutely love, dude, I love this piece of dialogue, this quote that Riley tells Ellie. They're talking about Bethany and everything, and Riley tells her, "You can't fight everything and everyone. You can pick and choose what's important." Mm.
that's true.
That was so good, bro. And when I tell you that I love hearing these little pieces of dialogue with everything about part two in mind, this is it right here. That piece of dialogue, my jaw dropped. I was like, damn, you can pick and choose what's important. You don't have to fight everything and everyone. I don't know. She was dropping some bars right here. She was
You don't have
dropping
to
some
fight
bars.
everything everywhere all at once.
There you go. Unless you're Kate Blanchett trying to win an Oscar for Tar. Then
Ooh,
you can fight everything ever all at once.
ooh.
But you're not gonna win because it's taking Best Picture. I promise you.
Mm. But I saw you. I saw that little tweet, my boy. I saw that
I'm
little
not gonna
tweet.
lie,
Yeah,
bro.
you
That
wanted to win though.
that Best Actress nomination though, that one is that one's gonna be difficult. Cause like on one hand, I'm like, dude, Michelle Yeoh is like, you know, the 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 Rocky Balboa, facing the great Adonis Creed or Apollo Creed in Kate Blanchett's Tar. What performance was better? I don't know. You can't ask me that question, dude. You can't ask me that question. Of course, I want Rocky Balboa to win, but Apollo Creed is a better pound for pound fighter. I don't know.
Jeez,
It's gonna be
jeez,
difficult, bro.
that's
Everything Ever All
crazy.
at Once. I feel like it'll take Best Picture though. If not that, then Fablemans easily. Which, eh, I can't hate on that.
Oh, you can't hate. I remember you were raving about that movie.
What,
Um,
Fablemans? No, that was
yeah.
Ben. Ben
Was
was
it?
raving about that
Oh, I
movie.
thought it
Oh,
was you.
he loves that movie, bro.
Ben loves anything
Yeah.
that any movie that is aired in any theater, bro. Aside from what was it, Blood and Honey? Let's be honest, bro. I think Ben's more of the yes man than you, to be honest, bro. What are we talking about here? It's crazy. Um, but we transitioned
He's,
to
bro, he's gonna be listening to this episode in his car, and he's just gonna be fuming. He's gonna be like, "Fuck y'all, bro."
I know that's like what the seventh roast on this man. That's crazy. We're only like 40, 30 minutes in, something like that.
Jeez,
Um, but anyway, we transition to Ellie and Riley up on the rooftop. They start drinking the alcohol that they found that dead man's body with. Oh, I also forgot to mention the dead man's body fell through the floor. Um,
yeah.
I get very, very rickety, rickety building, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they start drinking this alcohol. They're like, "Oh wow, this tastes horrible." Like any kid would do. And then probably still me to this day. Actually, most of that stuff tastes disgusting. Um,
Bro, don't lie, bro.
dude, I ain't even lying. That stuff is gross. It's like I genuinely don't like the taste of that stuff.
Bro, Will told us you're an alcoholic, bro. It's
No,
fine.
bro. Will is crazy, cracked out, man. Happened one time. Um, But then Riley gives us the little story of how she, or gives Ellie rather, the little story of how she became a Firefly. She was out sneaking around one night, like she quote usually does, and then on her way back, because she was bored originally because Ellie was in the hole for something. Ellie did something bad, I'm sure. But on her way back, she doesn't explicitly say Marlene here, I don't believe, but she says that someone in the Fireflies found her and said they like how she sneaks around and all that sort of thing, and asked her what she thinks of Fedra, and that one thing led to another. And so from that point, we follow them with this. This is the only kind of weird choice in soundtrack for me here when they're running across the rooftops. Um, it's not a licensed sound or anything, but just when they're running across the rooftops and jumping, it was just like I don't know, just like I was getting like a almost like what's one of those like teen book drama movies like Twilight or Hunger Games or Divergent, like I was like, what music is this right now? And it was like, I know I'm nitpicking here, very small thing, like it only lasts about like 30 seconds and I'm not even really harping on the episode for it, but it was so, like such a strange choice for me. Like I don't know, just
Let me
Maze
see.
Runner as well, one of like Maze Runner, it's like really weird.
When they're running across the tops of the buildings?
Yeah, yeah, on the way to look at the mall.
Okay, let me see.
It's like they play this music during like a training montage or something.
I'm listening. Yeah. Dude, yeah,
Like
that's weird.
I'm imagining
Yeah.
I feel like they use this specific song for Maze Runner. Like I can imagine Dylan O'Brien like sharpening a stick or something to help them build the community. Like I don't even know. It's just
Dude, yeah,
really
that
weird
sounded
choice.
weird.
But
That's
I mean,
funny.
it's whatever. It's it's a music choice, that's for sure. Um, but they get to the end of the buildings, and they mention how Fedra rewired the QZ because so there's more people coming in the QZ, so they need more apartments, and then that is set up for. Eventually, we learn how in rewiring everything, they accidentally turned back on the mall electricity, and so they also, and this leads into my complaint about the episode a little bit because right as Riley is telling her about the mall and showing her the mall, um, Ellie says they sealed the place for a reason. It's full of infected. And then Riley says, then why isn't it sealed off? And so I guess just to tackle my complaint right now, and let me preface also, I am not one of these people that needs an action set piece all of the time. I understand that The Last of Us is more about the characters. But at the same time, if you use that as like a scapegoat for everything, then why not just make this a character story? Why make this in the apocalypse at all? But my main complaint is, I also want to preface, I don't need this to be exactly like the game at all. And I, in fact, in my review for this episode, I praised the fact that it was just one infected. But also, I think it was such a missed op now for my actual point after all that jibber jabbering. Um, I think it was a huge missed opportunity to not showcase the hive mind of the infected again
Yeah.
here. Because in the game, if you don't know how Ellie and Riley get bit, they are chased by a horde of runners and clickers and stalkers. And so I don't need it to be like that shot for shot, and that's totally fine that it wasn't. But I just feel like, why not? You know, like it was the perfect time to show Ellie or Riley accidentally stepping on some mycelium or something. And then like it strings up and taps on their shoe or whatever. And then we see it pan over to the sound of a bunch of infected running after them, which I can understand it to certain extents. Like maybe they didn't want to show another horde so quickly since it's only been 2 episodes since episode 5. They didn't want to make it seem overdone, that kind of thing. But at the same time, you think about it, they showed a horde in episode 2 running after them, and then 3 episodes later we see another horde. You know, it's like maybe they just didn't want the idea of a horde to be overdone. So I can understand it to an extent. But just even in talking about the realm of the show, because that is a change from the game. That is a huge change from the game because and it's a replacement for the spores because the spores, I understand, I've gotten over that. Uh but for you to introduce something like a hive mind, a really interesting and really cool and really haunting idea, and to only utilize that once, that just seems so gimmicky to me. Um, Granted, I know they already greenlit a season 2. We could see it again in season 2, that hive mind sort of thing. But I mean, why are we only using it once? Like it's a really cool idea. Use it more. I don't think that would take it. And even in saying, if you are one of these people saying that it's a more character focused story, I agree with you. But that doesn't take away from any of the character moments. I don't think having a herd chase them would take away the idea that or the basis of the scene. Ellie and Riley having to reel with the fact that they don't get to live the rest of their lives out. At least so they think. Ellie does, but Riley doesn't. Um,
Yeah.
it just, I don't know. It seems like it was a needless change at a certain point. And there's opportunities still for this in this season to use them. People in my TikTok comments told me, well, actually, I don't know if I want to say that. That's future spoilers. So I won't say those things. But um, you know, it just there's 2 more opportunities specifically where they could use them, and I don't know that they will. Um, it seems like it'd be a hard thing to do, but hey, they've made changes so far, and so I'm excited to see. But it just, I don't know. I would like, because I'm really interested in that idea. That's what it all boils down to. That idea, I loved it when they introduced it in episode 2. I literally got horrified chills through my body when they did it, and I would love to see more of it. That's what it boils down to. And it was disappointing that it seemed like they were setting it up here, full of infected, Ellie said, and then just ended up being nothing. But I also, at the same time, I love the fact that it was just one infected, because it shows the idea that all it takes is one to get two people infected, get however many people infected. All it takes is one. That's how dangerous these infected are. And I totally understand also that these infected are way more dangerous than they were in the game. And so I also appreciate the fact that it was one, but I also would have liked to have gotten a horde, like I
Yeah.
don't feel like they have to be mutually exclusive.
Do you think if they would have utilized the hive mind a little bit more in previous episodes, that you'd feel different about that?
Yeah, because right now, like I feel like um looking at the fact that we've only seen it in episode 2. That was the
Yeah.
only time we've seen it. It's like, and granted, maybe I made it out to be such a bigger change than it actually ever was, but it just, again, it harps back to, like, what I said, like, why make this an apocalypse story if you're not gonna fully utilize the stuff that you set up in this show? And that's specifically a show mechanic, and so it's like, why not use what you created in the show? And, like, if they I don't know how they would have used it in, like, say, Kansas City, because all the infected were underground, but it's just, I don't know, a missed opportunity, I think. But yes, I think, like, if they had shown us that in episode 5, I w I think I would be okay with having not seen it for a couple more weeks, or if at all, maybe 2 times in 1 season is enough. But just 1 time, I don't know. I just This doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah. Um, I I also agree. It would have been a perfect time to utilize the hive mind, especially. Yeah, I'm having camera difficulties. Especially, the fact that we haven't seen it in about 5 6 weeks. It's kind of like where to go, and I'm interested to see the other two times that it could happen. I'm interested to talk about that later because I was sitting here wondering when they could maybe utilize it. Um, maybe next week. I don't know. So I'm excited. I'm interested to see what you have to say about that.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, after it happened, I saw your video and I was like, yeah, that's a really good point. And that might be like one of the last bits, like we might not have another chance to see something like that or see the hive mind utilized like that unless they really do change something up big time. Not big time, but unless they do change some things up. And so, yeah, that would have been a really good scene to watch. Even if they kind of run away from the horde and get stuck with just one, then you get the best of both worlds. You get the horde, you get the hive mind, and you see just how powerful just one is on these
That's
two
actually a really good
14-year-olds. Yeah, I mean,
really
you
good
could even do something like that. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think, and I was like, man, how much? And here's me, big dumb podcast movie guy. How hard is it to make a movie? I'm over here like, how much would it really be to extend the scene a bit more? Like take it outside, like Riley and Ellie do, or have like a chase from a big horde and stuff. What are the restrictions on that, money wise, cost wise, set design wise? And so maybe it's some stuff of some stuff like that
Yeah,
that I was trying to take into consideration, but then again, I'm not really sure.
yeah. That's a valid point too. Like, you gotta account for the CGI that it would take to create the horde like they did in episode 5, even though a lot of that was practical as well. Um, and having to redo that again would probably shoot the budget up even more than it already was, which the budget for this show was
Crazy.
extensive. It was, yeah, it was very, very crazy. And so I can understand it for that aspect for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but we continue. They go down to the mall. Riley tells, this is actually an interesting moment because Ellie, as we've seen throughout the show so far, is very combative. She doesn't like to take orders very well. Um, and here she gets an order from Riley and she questions it. She wants to know why. She's like, I can't remember exactly what she says, but basically she's questioning Riley's authority towards her, and then Riley matches that. Riley's like, "How about you just go out there, turn to the right, and sit there like I'm telling you to?" And then Ellie shuts up and walks on over there. And so I like that because it adds to their relationship specifically, and how Riley is one of the only people, or I guess at the time that Riley is the only person that Ellie really knows. But even now, Riley is one of the only people that Ellie ever took that kind of shit from. And so
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that they showed us that.
Yeah, adds a lot to Ellie, Ellie's character, how she
Yeah,
acts around Riley, how she is around Riley, um, and so yeah, I like that little scene too.
yeah. Then Ellie goes out over to the second floor of the mall, looks out over everything, and this entire shot right here is apparently CGI. Um, I'm apparently they couldn't quite find the mall to look a mall to look exactly. In the podcast they talk about they did get to shoot in an actual mall, a mall that was scheduled for um demolition. So they just got to do whatever
Oh,
they wanted to do to this mall.
hell
They can
yeah.
mess it up however they wanted to. So it was really cool. But this shot specifically is entirely CGI. And I want to talk about this specifically. There was someone on TikTok. I don't I I don't know that I think their name is May Your Survival Be Long. Really good Last of Us TikToker. Um, she mentioned that this shot is like the exact colors of the lesbian flag, I believe she said. Yeah, I don't think yeah,
Wow.
all the colors in this scene are the exact hues of all the colors on the lesbian flag. And so she got a lot of pushback on this in her comment section saying like she's reaching and stuff, and it hasn't been confirmed. They don't mention it in the podcast or anything like that. But like I mean,
I can see it.
yeah, I could see it. I don't see why, like especially with the shot being all VFX. So that means they put the lighting the way they wanted the lighting to be and everything like that. I could definitely see, especially with this episode centering around two lesbians, I could totally see that being a thing. And so um
Yeah.
not confirmed, but I love that idea. I think that's a really it adds more to this not more to the story, I guess, but it just I don't know, it adds to the atmosphere. That's the word I'm looking for. It adds to the atmosphere a lot. And so I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you can most definitely see like a velvet red building at the bottom, some orange and red, some orange and brighter red lights, some pink and some purples and some dark pinks and some light pinks. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
don't think that's too much of a reach.
Yeah.
It makes sense too. I mean, Ellie's a lesbian. you
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you can't sit here and say it's not completely out of the picture.
Yeah. Um then we follow them to the escalator and we get Take on Me playing in the background.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Hey, bro. Let's
Makes you
go.
this the whole time I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I wonder why they took this out of the trailer, which I don't know why I was thinking about the trailer at this moment, but I mean, well, I know why because that was in the trailer, but it wasn't. It's not anymore. But um, I still got to enjoy this moment. It's cool watching her freak out over an escalator. Um, I just be
Yeah,
standing on that thing. I'm like, damn, this thing's slow. What's happening right now? She's all freaking out. um, this is a cool, yeah, cool little scene watching Ellie. This is that innocence that I like and that I want to see. And
yeah.
so I appreciate that.
It's the
Um,
same as whenever she was in the car and she was like, "It's like a spaceship. Oh my
yeah,
gosh!" And then he's like, "All right, put your seatbelt on," and then he has to like grab it and put it on her. Yeah,
yeah. Then they keep walking down the mall strip here, and they're talking about different stores and um, how they're all ransacked and how the military like push people out of here. Yada yada yada. Then they come across a Victoria's Secret store, and they walk up to it. And then Riley's like, "Why do people even want this stuff?" Ellie's like, "Do I need to spell it out for you?" Riley's like, "Well, no, duh, but I just mean like it all looks uncomfortable." And then here's like the little flirtatious element from Riley here that I really appreciate. She's like, I was just trying to imagine you in one of these outfits. Um, and she basically says it in a way that it wouldn't look too good. And then Ellie takes that offensively a little bit, and then she stops and looks and thinks about it for a second, and it's just like, yeah, this I love the yeah. And she even checks her how she looks in the reflection of the glass. She's trying to look all pretty for her. I love this. I love the this is the part of the episode, the little bits of it that I loved so much, and I thought they built their relationship really really well. But again, just a little bit lackluster for me in the end with the oh my god, we're both big. Like, oh,
Yeah.
get over it, crybaby, crazy.
Dude, that reminds me, bro. I didn't laugh as hard in the episode, bro. But when I was re-listening to it, I was like, dude, that shit was funny. And maybe it's just because I was in such a hurry, but I was like, yeah, I'm excited for Cocaine Bear. And you were like, well, yeah, I mean, if it has a story arc, it's already better than Quantumania.
No,
Bro.
that's fact. And it did, bro. It did. That little kid,
Mm-hmm.
light spoilers for Cocaine Bear. So if you haven't seen it, click away. The little boy,
Yeah.
like at least I took it like he has a hard life at home, like with his dad. And then so at the end of the movie, he sits there and he yells at this other guy for being a bad dad. And I was like, damn, that's what he wants to say to his dad, but he can't. I love that. And I was
Damn.
like, immediately better than Quantumania. Let's go. It's like that's all we needed. Some little kid. And that's crazy, man.
Oh, dude, that was funny, bro. I was like, damn, bro, he went hard on it. Uh, no, I also saw somebody on Twitter say that, and I'm not again definitely not sure how true this is. I can't, I wouldn't be able to say for myself. They said that, and let me see if I can get the wording right. Basically, that Bella Ramsey gave the best. What was it? Lesbian gaze. I think that's what they said. Let's just go with that. That she gave the best lesbian gaze they've ever seen on screen. Where basically, and the moment they pointed out was her looking at Riley when they're dancing on the table, and she just kind of like stares at her. And then, like in the photo booth, and then moments like this, that Bella Ramsey gave the best, I mean, in their eyes, the best lesbian gaze that they've ever seen. You know, the best love gaze or whatever. Again, I don't know how true that is. Obviously, I can't speak on it. I'm not a lesbian, but
Yeah.
I was like, she did do a fucking phenomenal job in
Even
this,
yeah, acting through
dude.
that mask, especially too. Like I could tell from it's like people how they praise Andrew Garfield for the Amazing Spider-Man and all of his acting through the mask, a non-expressive mask like that. She
Yeah.
did that fantastically here. Like I could immediately tell, like as they're dancing, and as she slowly stops, I could just tell like what's on her mind. I love
Hmm.
that so much. I'm glad you brought that up.
So good, dude.
But then we follow them along some more, and they end up at the carousel, and Riley gets it going, and then we can hear "Just Like Heaven" by The Cure playing in a little melody in the background, and we get this somber moment of them both riding the carousel, slowly looking at each other,
Mm.
giving each other a little, yeah, yeah. No, she caught Riley checking her out right there too. That's crazy. That is crazy stuff. I don't even catch that the first time. That's wild. But then they get even more drunk a little bit. Alcoholic, crazy kids, crazy cats.
Charlie and Will out
That's
here.
hey, bro. That's wild. You saying that? That's crazy. You saying that? That's interesting right there. That ain't me. Um, but they keep riding until it shuts down here in a second. And Ellie's looking off into the distance like she's longing. She knows that this is a beautiful moment, and I love this. I think Bella plays this well as well. Um, she looks off into the distance as it's still spinning, like she wants so badly to. I know it because I think most of us have been there. At least I hope so. Hope I'm not the only one. Like you want so badly to tell somebody, but you also don't want to ruin um, what you have in the moment, and so. Um, she said there's so much you can tell from her face at this point. And for
Mhm.
audio listeners, don't worry, we're not throwing anything up on screen, but just there's a moment when Ellie's looking off as the carousel is riding, and you can tell so much from her face here. Like she wants to tell Riley how she feels, kind of face, but she's just worried how it's going to end. She is nervous about the way she's wondering if Riley feels the same way. She's nervous about the entire situation. She wishes she could express herself. All these million little things are said with her, just her face in this moment, and I love it so much.
Yeah. She does a phenomenal job, dude. She does so good. Um, Moments like this, and even just moments of joy, or like little moments of dialogue between them, clowning on each other and stuff, and like when she's playing the game, hearing a little bit. Um, it's just also good. Like every time she just stopped and stared at her for a little bit, and Riley was like, "Okay, what should we do next?" I was just like, "Oh, Ellie, come on, Ellie."
Cut that, bro. That's great. That's crazy.
But I was
Ellie,
saying, Ellie.
you are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
Uh, oh, dude, and
Um,
that's another thing. I mean, we've been going back and forth on Creed all night, bro. You can't wait to talk about it. But okay. So one of the scenes I love seeing in the movie theater in the trailer was when she looks at Adonis and she says, "Well, then maybe you just have to fight him." Whoo, bro, the chills I got every time I like that on top of like the punches going on beat. It's like the two, two, and it's like them fighting. I would get chills every single time, and I would get so giddy watching that trailer. And she didn't even drop that line in
yeah,
the
she
movie,
doesn't say it
bro.
in the movie. Yeah.
I was waiting for it, and I was like, no. Damn,
What
dude.
does she say? Like, then you know what you need to do, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. She says,
That's
then
what
you
she
know what you
says.
need to do. And then it cuts away. But man, I was so mad. And she was like, well, then maybe you just need to fight him.
That's why you gave it an 89, bro. Come on now.
Yeah. 91, actually. I moved it back up.
Oh, this cat right here
Dude, I
is
saw that
crazy.
edit and I was like, yeah, no. This shit
This
ain't getting
John, bro.
anything below a 90.
This John right here. That's crazy.
Anyways, but yeah, um, I forgot what we were talking about, but yeah, continue.
um, then Riley has a little conversation with Ellie here about the future of Fedra and why part of the reason why she joined the Fireflies is because they were giving her sewage detail, and she doesn't want to work sewage detail. I mean, who would want to work sewage detail? It sounds terrible. Basically, she would just stand watch and guard people with a gun down in the sewage, having to smell that all day. And so she's like, that's what they think of me. That's the kind of job that they're going to give me there. And so I can't be there anymore. And so Ellie finally understands, like to an extent, why Riley wants to be a Firefly so bad. Like the Fireflies actually see her and accept her, rather than
Yeah.
trying to shove her away down into a deep, dark, stupid crevice.
Yeah. Damn. Boy went hard on it.
um, but then we get the lovely little photograph booth. Why did I say photograph booth?
Jonathan Krasinski.
Photo booth. I was wondering this whole time because in the game there's like you can connect it to Facebook and you can like post the yeah, no, it's really weird.
Oh wow.
You can connect it to Facebook and post the pictures on there. At least in the OG game. I don't know if you can do it in the remake. I can't remember. I've played it, but I can't remember if you can do it. But I was wondering if they were going to have a Facebook reference in this show version of it, and they didn't, which makes sense. They probably don't want to give Facebook any free advertising or anything like that. But nonetheless, I was expecting it for some reason. But I love how somebody pointed this out to me. I can't remember who it was, so I apologize for stealing your idea. But as they were taking the pictures and the pictures come out, the only picture that is viewable is the one where they're pretending to be monsters. And
damn.
yeah, Yeah. That is
Damn.
wild. They didn't talk about that in the podcast, so that's not a confirmed thing. Just like the thing we talked about before. So, but I think that's believable as well. Like I could totally see that being a thing. That is, or maybe it's just a happy accident. I don't know, but I think that's cool. And
Dang.
again, if that was your idea, I'm sorry I took it from you.
They're probably not listening. Um, but I love how awkward they are in the scene too.
Yeah. No,
She's
yeah,
like,
because yeah, and this again like, speaks to the flirtatious thing here. But
yeah.
sorry, continue.
No, she was just like, she's like, oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, yeah, okay. Just grabbing it. Yeah, dude, that is interesting. I went back and I looked at it. Yeah, it's like the top two are like very pale. You can see a little bit of the second one, but you can definitely see them um,
Yeah,
acting like monsters. Oh, that's crazy.
yeah. That
Wow.
man, that
If
hurts.
that's intentional, oh,
That's great. I like that. I love that. Give me some
mm-hmm.
more of that. Um, but then after that, they take the photos and then they head over to the arcade. Raja's Arcade, or Rajas, however you want to say it. But I already talked about this a little bit. I love that it's an actual fully functioning arcade. You can see all the different machines that are working. Um, you see elements of Tetris. You see some Pac-Man up in here. Just tons of little callbacks and references, Frogger, all that kind of thing. And so
Yeah.
they end up playing Mortal Kombat 2 though, because that's the thing that. Oh, also the soundtrack playing right here, straight from the game. Love it. Sounds
Mm.
fantastic. But watching them actually get to play Mortal Kombat is really, really cool. I grew up playing Mortal Kombat. I didn't like these old ass ones, Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. I of course am like Mortal Kombat 9 and up, my spoiled ass. But this is still super enjoyable. Um
Yeah.
I also love the fact because that's something I didn't even think about when they walked in the arcade. I was like, "Oh, they're just gonna get to play him," but then I didn't think about the quarter aspect of it. But I love how
Yeah.
they address that as well.
Um, yeah, it's just so like, dude, just imagine being in an apocalypse, you know, stuck in these QZs, and then you finally get to play your favorite game of all time. Like,
That's
just
true.
in this,
The Last of Us.
yeah, it's just in this fucking dork, in this, like abandoned arcade that's still fully functioning. All the lights, dude, the visuals in this were so good, and you get to just hang out there with your best friend and play um, your favorite video game, your favorite arcade game ever. Like that was such a cool scene.
I mean, it was all right, yeah. But then then they the camera as they're going round for round for round for round on Mortal Kombat, or session for session for session rather, because there's rounds in each session of Mortal Kombat. But anyway, the camera pans over, and what do we see in the American Girl doll store or the equivalent of that, whatever? Um, we see a lowly stalker, I think. Yeah, it's not quite a clicker because it's not blind yet. We see a stalker awaken, and hence the tension of the episode starts to rise. What are your thoughts, Aiden?
What does that thing at the top say? Every story has a what?
Um, the American Girls dolls thing is that
Yeah.
every story has a S.
What could that be? Because that when I first saw it, it looked like an E, and I was like, bro, no way that says every story has an end. But it would be an end, not a end. But I was like, dude, wait, what? That's what I was looking so hard at. I have no idea what that could say. Every story has a,
Has a Sally. I don't know.
I don't know. Every story has a, um, Ant-Man Quantumania. I don't know. I was trying to think of a movie, like it's just a dumb movie I could say. I was like, I couldn't think of it.
Man's goofing. Um,
Every story has a Benjaminography.
Oh my god, bro. Let's see the more we say it, the more I'm liking it. He should have went with that one. I don't know what's wrong with him. But they finished the little Mortal Kombat session, and then they pause and look at each other for a second, and Ellie slips up and looks right at Riley's lips. Oh my goodness.
Sheesh.
I thought they were gonna kiss right there. I was like, no way, this is happening right now. This is crazy.
She knew what she was doing.
But didn't unfortunately we didn't get fed. We didn't get fed like that, not yet. Then we get that awkward little like moment after where they try to brush it off and pretend like it didn't happen. And Ellie tries to cut things off pretty early and saying that she needs to go home. But not quite. Riley has a gift for her that she wants to show her. And as they're walking through the mall, they walk through the food court. And this is something that I completely missed, but they walk into a Macho Nacho. And Macho Nacho is directly referenced in Uncharted 4, which I love the Uncharted series. I can't believe I didn't see that. I've been kicking myself ever since. And I think the Macho Nacho might have been referenced in other Naughty Dog games as well, but Uncharted 4 is the only one that I've seen a video for. But that's the store they walk into, and that's really, really cool because I like Uncharted more than I like The Last of Us. I'm just kidding. I don't.
Cat.
But Uncharted is my second favorite, though, for sure, for sure. But the gift that Riley has for Ellie is the pun book that we saw her using with Joel in episode 4. Or maybe it might have been a little bit of episode 3 too, if I remember correctly. But oh well, it doesn't really matter. They read a couple of the jokes off. I love the fact that they didn't know what a screenshot was. How does the computer get drunk? I don't know. Ask Aiden. But the
Clown.
as Ellie is walking around checking out where Riley, excuse me, I almost mixed their names up right there. I said Eiley. I almost said
Eiley.
um,
Eiley and Relly.
she finds a bunch of pipe bombs that she can only assume that Riley has been making. And after this whole time, Riley has been assuring her that she's not going to do anything violent. It's kind of seems like she lied, kind of thing. And so she's a little upset because the pipe bombs are going to be used on people like Fedra, and Ellie is being trained to become a Fedra officer. So she takes it pretty personally, takes it pretty hard, and she ends up storming off. And then right as she's storming off, Riley stops her and says, "This is my last night. I want us to have a good night, a good final night together. I'm leaving. The Fireflies are stationing me somewhere out west." And Ellie's like, "Well, then why did you set this up?" And she's like, "Because I wanted to see you, and I wanted to say goodbye." And so Ellie's naturally pretty hurt by this. She had just been gone for 3 weeks, and now she's going to leave forever. And so as she storms off again, she knocks over a trash can. And then interestingly, as she's almost out of the mall, she stops and turns back. And I'm still perplexed as to why she turned back. I mean, I listened to the podcast and they said that she turned back for love. Which, you know, I could see that. But when I won't lie, when I first watched it, and as she's walking back, she hears screams and she thinks it's Riley and she goes to go help her. As soon as she gets back over to Riley, she's like, "Give me the book." I was like, "Oh, she just went back for the she just went back for the book." That's crazy. um, I fully believe like she just went back for the book, but then she heard the screaming. She's like, "Oh, okay, I love her. I gotta help her." So, and then she just ended up staying. But no, yeah, I guess I buy the she came back for love thing a lot more. Works better for the story, for sure.
Yeah.
But we find them in the infamous Halloween store, which is I'll say a huge moment from the DLC. In the DLC, you can walk around and put on 3 different masks, and that you get to play around with. I believe there's a wolf one, a bird, like a
With
cuckoo
the
bird, a green cuckoo
snapback.
bird with like a snapback hat on, yeah. And then what's the third one?
Did you say the Frankenstein one already?
No, I
Or are
didn't.
you talking about for Ellie?
For Ellie.
Ellie is the werewolf, the bird, and damn, I
There's
don't remember.
I know there's for Riley, there's the clown one that she puts on in the show, and then there's a Dracula one that she can put on in the game as well. But I don't remember
Mm.
what the third one for Ellie was. um,
Um, I don't know. Go ahead. I'll
yeah.
look for it.
Um, but they sit there and they talk about while they're in the Halloween store before they put the masks on. They sit and talk about things a little bit more. And Riley mentions how like you don't know what it's like to belong. Like you never knew your parents. I did for a little bit, and I've been searching for that feeling of belonging ever since I lost them, kind of thing. And so the Fireflies are the only people that have made her feel like she belongs. And so she needs to she wants Ellie to understand that that's why she needs to do this. And I think that's great motivations for Riley. Honestly, I love that so much. I think that adds a lot more character to her, and it fleshes her out a lot more than the DLC did. Obviously, in the DLC, she was still a Firefly, but this gives her full on um, deep reasoning for why she wants to be a Firefly because she desperately needs that sort of connection, and I really, really enjoy that. Um,
Yeah.
and Ellie asks her, "Is she sure about leaving?" Um, and she kind of needs to be sure about it. Um, one
Uh.
thing. So you go. You go. Did you find
Oh
them?
no. So well, yeah. One, it was Riley had a blue teddy bear mask, and Ellie had a witch mask
Which that's what.
that she could
Okay.
wear. Also, another thing is, if you'd rather talk about this after what you're about to say, go ahead. But I was just gonna say in the DLC, I really loved how she tells her, you know, um, I told you to go, and I said it in an asshole way, but I'm serious. You should go. And there's my goddamn camera again. Holy. Um, and then she ends up telling Riley ends up telling her, well, if anyone is going to be able to stop me, it would be you. And she's like, oh my gosh, don't go. I'd be so miserable without you, right? Well, then they do their little dancing, and Ellie says, after everything's done, after they're done dancing and everything, Ellie stops and she looks at her and she says, don't
Don't go.
go.
Don't go.
And honestly, like we said earlier, that got me more than this one did, right?
I agree.
Um like a lot more. It was such a good moment. And to my knowledge, I don't think Ellie says that to her in this one, or if
Oh
she
wait, no,
does,
sorry. I meant this one got me in the show. That her saying that actually got me in the show. Um, she
her
did say that in
saying
the show.
she did say it.
Yeah.
Um
As soon as they
it,
take the masks off.
I don't know. Again, it really didn't. I was just it's kind of indifferent about it, you know. I uh I love it a lot more in the game, and this moment wasn't bad. Yeah, that's right, because she says, "What do we do now?" Um, it wasn't bad, but I just this is one of the ones where I really, really, really love what they did in the game, um, more than what was on the show.
It's all right, bro. We can all be right 100% of the time, you know?
We can all
Um,
be right 100% of the time. Is that what you
we
said?
can't
All
all be
right,
right
bet.
100% of the time, you know?
That was oh, you're muted now, so it's all good.
Um, but the one thing I was gonna mention was I kind of I didn't I don't okay. Let me gather my thoughts real quick. I dislike, but I also think dislike is too strong of a word for it, that we didn't get to see them play with the water guns, bro. The water guns
Yeah,
would have been
dude.
so cool to see, man. Like I just and people talk about that this is more of a character story than anything else. Yeah, that's like the happy-go-lucky, fun-loving character moment that I really wanted to see in this. Just them have a water gun contest. Excuse me. I just think that would have been cool and um, lighthearted
Well,
to witness.
and it also would have done a lot for, how we've been talking about Ellie's vulnerable side, and um, wanting a little bit more of Ellie, and like, that version of Ellie. Um, in the DLC, she's kind of pissed off at Riley, and then she says, "Well, look, how about I absolutely destroy you, and then we can talk." And then Riley's kind of like, "Okay, we're friends again," and they have like a fun little water gun fight. I feel like that would have done a lot for Ellie's character too, showing that first thing that comes to Ellie's mind isn't cussing her out or getting pissed off at her. She's pissed off, but then she's like, "All right, how about I destroy you in this water gun fight, and then we can talk," like a little kid. And so I feel like that would have done a lot for her character as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree. Um, but then we finally get them to put their masks on, and they,
I love this scene, bro.
yeah,
It's
the
just it looks so cool to me, dude.
yeah, the masks are like straight from the game, especially that
Well,
clown one.
oh yeah, that clown one is straight from the game, but just like, I don't know, just them with the masks on, dancing uh on the countertop, it was so cool. I don't know what it is, but I love this scene.
Damn, I guess bro doesn't hate the episode as much as he said. That's crazy.
I never
Um,
started hating it that much. Let's chill out there.
that's crazy. That's not what I heard. That's not what everybody else heard. That's okay. Um, watching them dance on top of the counter, yeah, especially to the actual song from the game as well. That was a nice little touch. I'm glad they were able to get that situated. Um, yeah, they're dancing like happy little go lucky kids, and then again, you can just the way Bella plays this, she's dancing, she's happy, and then you can see her slowly start to stop. And I'm envisioning her face so well under this wolf mask. Like it's just such a longing face, wants to, yep. And then she takes it off. Oh my God. So good, bro. So good. And then when she says, don't go, love it,
Hmm.
man. That hit for me so hard. Don't go. Ah, dude, she does the shaky voice thing so good. I'm sorry,
Oh
guys.
yeah, dude.
I'm getting wrapped up in it. But then Riley says, "Okay." I like how it was a more of an unspoken thing this time around. She didn't say like, "You're the only person who can stop me." Not that
Hmm.
I didn't like that in the game, but I like how it's just an unspoken thing that as soon as Ellie asks, she's like, "Okay, I won't go." Like it's just like that's all you needed to say.
Yeah.
Um, what now? We'll figure it out. Then you hear some clanking, and then she's like, "Get ready to run." And then the one singular stalker comes over to attack them. And actually, hold on, is this? Yeah, I guess it is. I was gonna. It looked a little bit different than the one that was in the American Girl doll store to me at first. So I was a
Hmm.
little, but I think it is the same one. I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Dude, just
Actually,
imagine,
I don't
like,
know.
after that, it's all quiet and you just hear like someone running around. Oh, my heart would drop.
Especially in this world, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Um, But yeah, this and I praised this in my review for the episode. I really do love that it was one and showing how hard it was just to take down this one uh, was great in my eyes. I think it was a great choice. But again, I don't think it would have been bad to show a horde either. But beyond that, they finally take it down, and then Ellie is super happy for a second. She was like, "Do you see that? That was so awesome!" And then I love the way Storm Reed plays this as well. She just the way she looks at her arm and just the dread that comes across. But
Hmm.
then Bella just steals it away, bro. She just steals it away. Starts wiping away the blood. No, no, no. Dude. So
So
good.
good, dude.
So
Yeah, I love this last like 10, 8 minutes of the show. Um, this was honestly the best um, acting in the entire episode. I loved every single bit of this scene, and just seeing Bella Ramsey just hitting everything, seeing Ellie just destroy everything, and Riley just sitting there like, oh my god, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. Like I basically technically had this whole life ahead of me, and now it's gone. Like I'm bitten. There's nothing they can
Yeah.
do, nothing that can happen, which does so much for that end scene, bro. It does so much, so much. And it's just very emotional. It's stressful. The tension is out of this world. It's draining. It's all around just so good.
Perfectly said. Yeah, I'm looking at it, and dude, Storm Reed plays amazingly. Just be all poetic and lose our minds together straight from the game. And again, she plays it really, really well, but just there's something about it. I don't know. It's not landing the same for me. It is they both do a fantastic job, especially the way they embrace each other at the end of it.
So good, dude.
Yeah, man, it is really, really damn good. But I just couldn't quite get there. I wish I'm always like upset with myself sometimes when like with emotional stuff when I can't reach that like emotional stage.
Yeah.
No spoilers for Creed, but for Creed 3, but there's a moment in that movie. There's a moment in that
You
movie
didn't?
that happened, and like I
Wow.
did a little bit, but like not as much as I wanted to. And I was like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah,
bro,
yeah.
I
No,
wish I could have done more.
I feel you. I cried, but I was like, damn, dude, like I wanted to cry a little bit more, but like I couldn't, but
Yeah.
like I felt it. I knew it was there, and like I was crying. I was for sure crying, like wiping my tears. Um, and I was sitting there like, damn, man, damn. But I feel you. Same with the whale. At the end of watching the whale, like I was crying, but then I looked over, bro, and people were sniffling. Like I'm talking about, like, bro, it was crazy, and I was like, damn, I wish I would have cried that hard. Shit,
Bro, I won't lie. The whale, I cried pretty hard. I cried pretty hard.
for
I
real.
think I was happy with the amount I cried in the whale.
I wasn't happy with the amount I cried. You know what? You know what? I was happy with the amount I cried last week's episode, and and everything everywhere all at once.
Okay, yeah, that's
I was
those
happy.
are the see,
I was
yeah,
happy with
especially
those.
everything everywhere. That's a good one to be happy with.
Whoo!
100%.
I feel like because I just feel like when you cry in those moments, bro, it's so rewarding because like the fact that I'm sitting here looking at some dude in the multiverse tell his wife, in any other universe, I would have been happy just doing laundry and taxes with you. The fact that that is making me sob right now, it says something about this movie, bro. It says something about this
Exactly.
movie. So
Says
yeah,
something about your capacity for empathy too, which is what
yeah,
I appreciate as well.
yeah.
Sounds a
But this
little
one,
egotistical, but I guess, but whatever.
yeah, I was disappointed. I was so disappointed in myself.
But what got me crying right after that was cutting to Joel and Ellie and watching them interlock their fingers. I was in, bro. I was like, damn, that's great. I already know the episode's about to end, but I'm in right now. This is me. I'm here. Um, but
That
then at the same time,
music,
yeah,
dude.
exactly. But then also, I was
Oh,
sitting there thinking, I was like, because during this scene, I was happy that I'm crying now, but I was like, damn, I wish I could have done this, but for the scene right before this. So
that scene is so goddamn good, dude. Because Joel's just looking at her like, "Bet you didn't leave me, man. Like,
I
thank you."
bet,
Like
Vince like bet that, bro.
he's like, "Oh, bet you didn't leave me, man. I knew you wouldn't." It's just so good, and that music, dude. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
dude.
like
Holy shit.
I am a sucker for like any like acoustic song or just any. That's why I love Ellie's take on me in the second game,
Yeah.
bro. Wait, that's not a spoiler, right? Or is it?
No,
Or should I
no,
shouldn't have to worry about that, right?
no,
Yeah, no, right.
no. Uh,
Um,
yeah, no,
uh,
no.
that's why I love her take on me in the second game, and even Joel singing Pearl Jam. I just I love scenes like that. So just hearing, oh shit, no, okay, no, that was I don't care. Staying in. Um, so like the song at the end of this one, oh bro, gone, done for. Adios, bro. I'm out of it. I'm crying, dude.
I'll love you
So good.
long after you're gone, gone, gone. A little Tasm 2
There you
love for you.
go.
A little Tasm 2 love for you. Um, but that brings us to the end of the episode. And yeah, again, I don't think there's anything that we really missed to iterate on. Um, it just wasn't everything I wanted it to be, but it was still a pretty damn good episode. I do think the pacing might have suffered a bit, might have dragged a little bit without anything much really happening. Um, so I can understand why some people might call it boring in that regard. But if you're calling it boring for any other reason, you're just wrong. You're just wrong. I'm sorry, you're just wrong. But
Oh,
again, yeah, not one of the best episodes, but still a pretty good one. So those are my
yep.
overall thoughts.
Yeah. Solid episode. I didn't hate it. Didn't love it as much as the others, but not every single one in a row could be just a straight freaking heater. So I definitely don't think it was boring, but I can't lie, that was funny. He was like, "Ah, man, this shit was boring." I was like, "Damn, dude." I was like, "Damn,"
Uh,
but like I could sit there and look from an outside, from someone that hasn't played the game. Like, I can see why you would take it there, but also I don't think it should ever be taken that far. I don't think it was boring, but yeah, I wouldn't take it that far. I think it was a great episode, a solid episode. Not up there with the big dogs, but that's all fine because the worst episode of this show can go head on with the worst episode of any of these other past shows we've seen, and I'll take this one every single day of the week. So you know, it is what it is. Move on to next week, which I'm sure will be a banger. Apparently, people are saying that the screams Bella Ramsey gives in this next episode are awful to listen to, and every single emotional scene that she's in hit everybody like really hard. And that apparently she did fucking amazing in this episode. So
dang.
I am ready, bro. So
Time to
ready.
time to ream David's ass, bro. Let's get him.
Uh, ah, 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 ah. Let's go.
Um, yeah. So now we're gonna head on to the future spoiler section of the show, which we don't really have too much to talk about. At least I don't. Um, but yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening. Those who don't want to know about future spoilers, if you are listening and watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you don't miss whenever we upload a wonderful podcast for your wonderful ears. And we have another episode coming very shortly after this one, Creed 3. We're going to record that tomorrow. And we have lots of terrible things to say about that movie. So make sure you're there, especially Benji Movies. Give him a look so you can watch what his little weird ass is going to say about it. But um,
I'm always catching strays all episode. I
um,
would say I feel like that's probably gonna be one of our best episodes yet, bro. When I'll save it for them. I'll save it for Creed 3. I'll save it for Creed 3. I feel like that's gonna be one of our best episodes. I fucking love that movie.
um, we got Baby Creed over here. That's crazy. But
Hey, what you say about me? Put them hands up, Damien. Come on.
um, Jesus. Also hit the like button. I don't know if I said that already. But check out the description below. You can follow myself on TikTok at It's Cubson. You can follow Aiden on TikTok, Aiden H Talks, as well as lots of other places like our Twitters and whatnot. Hit that link tree to get all those links. um,
There you go.
but then if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any other podcast listening platform, we're on all of them. Go ahead and drop us a wonderful rating. We deserve it. That you deserve to give it to us. So
There you
we
go.
would we would really appreciate it. So yeah, thank you guys so much. We will see you with Creed 3, and then if you don't watch that episode, whatever, I guess. And we'll see you next week for The Last of Us episode 8, the penultimate episode,
Mm.
the last episode, which is
And
to
then
say, but whatever.
2023 Oscars coverage.
Oh,
Live stream
yes.
presented to you by Words from the Nerds podcast with Aiden and Charlie and Benja Movies.
Benja.
So, but more on that later.
Yeah. Again, thank you guys so much. Hope you have a wonderful night, day, afternoon, whatever you're listening, whatever time of day. Yeah, thank you guys. And the spoilers start now. The only thing I was, because I remember you were wondering what points
Yes,
for the infected to run up. Um, Next episode, there's a point with David in the game where Ellie and David have to run and fight a
that's
bunch of
right.
infected, and so one of them could like trigger that hive mind, maybe.
That's right. Yeah.
But just judging by the fact that they haven't, really shown like big action set pieces like that this entire season, I struggle to believe that they're actually going to do that there. Um, and then the other place is just what I mentioned in my video, the underpass on their way to the hospital. There's tons of infected down there, and so
You're right. Yeah, both of those slipped my mind. I feel like if I were a betting man, I'd probably bet on the David episode being it. But then again, it's like, how much can you really do? You do a whole horde with the hive mind, and then you do the whole David stuff.
yeah,
Him trying to
exactly.
capture and eat Ellie. Um, so there's a good chance that we might not see it at all.
Yeah,
Which makes me wonder why they even changed that or introduced it, unless you have obviously season 2.
yeah.
But even then, man, still interesting
Which
choice.
they're writing season 2 right now, so I hope it's peak. Truly.
That will be. And then Abby lookalike, which we already touched on it, but basically, like what I wasn't able to say was, I think something about like them. The dude said something about Druckmann or Mason basically casting someone that looks like Abby in this role to terrorize Ellie, to kind of nod at the fans and be like, this girl that looks like Abby is terrorizing Ellie. We know what we're doing. We know what we're building up to. And so I can see that, yeah, for sure. But I really know what
Reach.
else.
It's a reach.
Imagine if she actually was Abby, though. That'd be wild.
They have a connection from being kids in the QZ.
Where is Abby?
Got to be in Salt Lake City
Yeah.
with Jerry and Owen and Mel currently.
Ugh, Jerry. Who cares about
I can't wait
Jerry,
to see
though?
if Jerry's played by somebody we know, like a big actor or something. Maybe not a big actor, but
Interesting.
Brendan actually has a pretty good theory about that. One of our mutuals at Dan Bren on TikTok and Twitter, I believe. He thinks that they're gonna gender swap Jerry, and it's gonna be played by Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey. Let me look her up real quick.
Laura Bailey's the woman who plays Abby
Abby. Oh, okay. Cool.
in part 2. Yeah, she does all the
Dude.
voice work and the mocap for her, and I honestly think that's a pretty good idea. I actually kind of like that.
Dude, if they make it the mom instead,
Yeah, I actually kind of like that.
that's gonna be hard to defend. Joel apologist around the nation, Joel apologist army. We're gonna have an uphill battle in this next couple years. No, dude, but that would be, oh man, that would be crazy. Well, because
I
he
don't know
just
if they
straight up,
will do it, but like I mean, I think that's a pretty cool idea.
it's gonna be interesting just seeing him straight up being like, "You'll just come after her anyways." Bah!
Dude, yeah, how he kills Marlene, that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be
He's at his peak. Just that's Joel peaking right there. That's peak protector Joel right there.
yeah,
I really
he's
want.
been flopping.
I might tell Ben to film his reaction to that episode. I'm gonna be interested to see a lot of people's reaction to these next 2 episodes. I'm very excited for next week episode. Or
Me too.
Oh my god, it's not even next week. It's literally 2 days, dude.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about David.
No, yeah. Or no, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. It's 2 days.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
I
Okay. Okay.
forget we're
Yeah. Yeah.
recording this on a Friday. It's gonna be Saturday, but we upload it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, we didn't even mention why we're late. Just like, hey, here it is. Well, because dude, I've been working and just
No. Yeah. Not. Yeah. Yeah. I
sleep
had
schedule's been all messed up. So
fucking Drew got sworn in to be a cop this week. I had to go to that thing and whatever. So,
damn,
well,
so that makes my cop comment earlier. Just tell him not to listen to this episode. Oh, that's funny.
um,
I mean, Fedra and the cops are about. I mean, they like the same role, so that's all I was trying to say.
yeah. No.
Drew, don't come at me, please.
Trust me,
No.
he ain't got no jurisdiction yet. Don't even worry. Man hasn't even
Okay,
been to the
bet.
academy yet.
Let me see if this Creed picture I made works. I don't know if I like it.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so what else was there left?
Only
Possibility we see Abby next week or two
only thing.
weeks,
Yeah, I hope.
but
I
then
hope
what?
we do. The only thing I was going to bring up was there's a screenshot from the next episode coming up uh, of David and his group, and they have a sign up that says, "When we are in need, he will provide." And so I think they're gonna go more like the cult route with David's group,
Oh
kind of thing, like
wow,
a crazy. I mean, I assume there's still gonna be cannibals, but just to deepen the um, lore of the group a bit more, they're gonna make it based in faith and some sort of religious belief. And so I kind of like that idea.
nice. Yeah, dude, that's dope. Yeah, I'm all for it. And then next season, well, I
With
forget
the
what the name.
Seraphites.
Seraphites, yeah. So then you can kind of get us used to the cults
Yeah,
a little bit early.
that's true.
Wouldn't
I didn't
hate
even think
that.
about. I didn't even think about that aspect of it.
Hey, that's why I'm here, brother.
Yeah, I can't wait to steal that idea when I post my TikTok.
All right, guys. Spoilers for season 2 of Creed.
That's
Or
not what I
Creed.
sound like, bro. That's not what I sound like. Stop it.
All right, guys. Spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2 and season 2. If you haven't watched, keep scrolling. 3, 2, 1. So I found this crazy
I don't do
discovery.
no countdowns. I don't give nobody a fucking
You
countdown.
did the other day.
Did I?
Yeah. I forgot what video
Yeah,
it was.
convenient. You forgot, huh? It's convenient.
I look and scroll.
Yeah, that's all I got, guys. We appreciate you guys for listening. I'm not going to reiterate. If you were here before, you heard that the last little bit about YouTube and stuff, and you know by now. If you like us, you'll do it. If you don't like us, then you won't do it, and we'll be really sad. And I'm going to cry myself to sleep, but that's okay. And Aiden's just
Yeah.
going to live his life because Aiden is just a G like that, just a real top G. One would say that he's.
Let's pump the brakes on that one.
um, but thank you guys. Seriously, we appreciate you guys again. That Quantum Mania video behaving a little weird, but we still appreciate appreciate it nonetheless. It's still
Someone sent
our
bot
most viewed
views.
video.
Yeah.
It's still our most viewed video, and we appreciate it so much. And if you have not listened to that, go ahead and drop it a listen. We only shit on the movie a little bit, so yeah.
They shit
I'm
on it a
sorry.
lot. I only shit on it a
Oh,
little bit. Boom, perfect background right there.
crazy. That's a
Dang, that
crazy
makes us pop out a
topic.
little bit more too.
Yeah, it does. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Hey, come on, man.
Okay.
Chill. Not that stuff. I don't like that. Bring it back to the shirtless guys. Anyway, guys, seriously, thank you. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back again with Creed 3 very, very soon. And then after that will be the penultimate episode. I'm gonna be so sad to see the series go, but we've waited long
Yeah.
enough for the first season. Also, real quick, I want to say I saw some because Pedro said that they might start filming by the end of this year for season 2, and then so somebody said that they would. That means that we could get season 2 late 2024. No, they
You
started
are
filming the first season in 2021. They started
yeah.
filming this,
You're
and they
reaching for the
finished filming
stars
in
there.
2021. No, they finished filming in 2022. It took them almost a year to shoot. and we just now are watching the show in 2023.
Yeah.
We are not getting season 2 by the end of 2024. You are tripping, my friend.
Hell no. You are reaching for the stars on that one. But the sooner the better. So I wouldn't even be mad at it.
Unless
I
the
doubt
story
it though.
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm
If you're Benjamin, you think it sucks anyway.
when they kill Joel, dude, it's gonna be crazy.
I wonder if
It's gonna be so weird, dude.
I'm curious to see if it's going to have the same sort of visceral reaction that The Walking Dead had.
Oh man,
I know you haven't watched The Walking Dead, but like
it's mid.
when you and you're not going to watch it, so I'll just spoil it.
Yeah, go.
Because when Glenn died in the season 7 premiere, bro, oh my god, I can't tell you how many people dropped off after that and just stopped watching. And so,
Dang.
especially with Joel dying early on, as early as he does in part 2, it's gonna be almost the same situation, I feel like. And so
Fuck. I don't want to go through it again. I'm all saying that. It's like the whole creators of the game are probably sitting there shitting bricks right now, like, fuck, we can't do this again.
I wonder, I'm excited to see the discourse happen again when he chooses to save Ellie instead of the world.
Dude, I can't wait, bro. Like,
To see all the different takes. I can't wait.
I can't wait, dude. It's gonna be so good.
I
That's
always
like,
argue with people. I love arguing. I'm just kidding.
I can't wait to defend my boy to the end of time. Bro, it just makes him more human. That's it. It is gonna be interesting though. I'm especially excited to see like some people I've been keeping up with that like haven't played the game. I'll watch their videos every now and then, or like they'll come up on my For You page. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you guys so much. We will see you again real soon, and we appreciate each and every one of you, seriously. But that is it for us. We'll see you next time. Adios.
Peace. Oh shit! I didn't end it.